Good morning everyone, this is Emma with Blockade Australia. I am currently on the only access rail line to the Port of Botany on unceded Bidjigal lands. It is the largest container port in this continent, and I am about to shut off, or have shut off about a quarter of the access, a quarter of the shipping goods are moved through this rail line. And I am about to swing off the rail bridge over the water, and I'm going to be suspended off a bipod that is a few meters in the air. Behind me is the Port of Botany. It is where the colonisation and destruction of this continent and these lands began. I want to pay respect to the Bidjigal people whose land I'm taking action on today, for their elders past, present and emerging, for their staunch resistance to the empire that first landed here in Botany Bay in 1770. It was an empire that started with violence and destruction and attempted genocide, and it set a precedent for what Australia would become. The destruction of these lands, of people, of culture has been intentional, and the powers that be have prioritised the economic wealth or political power of an elite few, and used a policy of extractivism and destruction to extract and exploit everything they could from these lands and people. And they move around these goods by roads, ports and rails, and that's why I'm attached to this bipod on the biggest choke point that I could think of on this continent. And because to create real change, we're going to have to materially disrupt the functioning and the facade of so-called Australia. And that is why Blockade Australia uses strategic direct action to target economic bottlenecks and centres of political and economic power. When I say economic, I don't just mean money, but I mean the flow of goods and labour that are exploited and extracted from this earth. And we know it doesn't have to be like this, and we know that there's no real place within the system as it stands for change. It is working exactly as designed. The climate crisis is a consequence of our exploitative and extractive system. So for those just tuning in, maybe people off-site can do the live description. Had a bit of trouble here. I am on the only rail access line to the Port of Botany. So you can see there's two tracks, one in, one out. And this here is a bipod structure. It is two metal poles that are attached to the rail line below me, and then a rope runs across the other side and it's attached to the other track. So this means that the Empire of Australia can't, for the time that me and these two metal poles and a bit of rope are here, they can't use this port as intended. It's the only port in Australia that has rail line access right up to the terminals. They have completely destroyed the landscape here. All the port terminals are completely human-made. The land, they've created new land mass, totally destroying the coastline here just so that they could exploit wealth and resources from this country. When I say country, I mean land. This is the stolen and unceded land of the Bidjigal people. They resisted colonisation from when Captain Cook first landed here in 1770 and fired shots at Bidjigal people. And they fought back every way they could at a time when this empire was extremely openly violent and destructive and murderous, while they were sending out soldiers in dozens and dozens with surgeons and head bags to murder First Nations people. There was Bidjigal people like Pemaway, you might have heard of, that's very famous, who mounted very long periods of strategic resistance and direct action. They tried to stop the expansion and delay the expansion of colonisation by doing things like attacking farms and huts, crops. And what the British government did was murder people like Pemaway and ship their skulls off to England, and things like this have still never been returned. It's not even known where Pemaway's skull is. There are shields they stole the first time they came to this land that are still held in British museums. It's like some kind of sick joke that it's actually gotten this far, to be honest. And yeah, I take action in solidarity with the Bidjigal people and their resistance. It's a view of the river. The sun is coming up. There's still no sign of police or rail workers. Sorry, that's why I'm looking around a bit. I'm gonna swing out on the bipod once they get close. So I'll try to attach myself for that, and hopefully your viewing is as best it can be. But yeah, it might be a bit patchy for a couple of minutes in a second. So I also have a backpack on with this lock on my back, and when I get to the top of this bipod, I will, and when the police get close, I will lock on to that lock on at the top of the bipod. Hopefully this spot is particularly difficult for them to remove me from. There's not really road access and there's water below. So if you're just tuning in, I'm on the only rail access line to the Port of Botany. This is a period of mobilisation against this port. It's the 4th day of action, and it is strategic, targeted disruption and direct action at choke points and supply lines that will materially affect the functioning of Australia and force it to stop its destructive actions. There is no time for asking nicely or signing petitions or holding placards. This destruction and desecration and exploitation is entirely intentional. They know exactly what they're doing. We've known about the climate crisis for really well for decades, but actually for hundreds of years. And it's not, that knowledge is not enough to create change when there's people who are benefiting off the exploitation of others. This entire system needs to go. The entire system is working exactly as designed, and it is set up so that for some people to make more money, to have more power, it inherently means that other people have less and don't have what they need. This system isn't just one that destroys ecosystems or causes 200 species to go extinct every single day. Every single day. It's not just causing the Arctic to lose all permanent ice this year. The ice caps are melting at alarming rates. We're setting off feedback loops that can't be stopped left, right and centre faster than we can keep track of. But the system doesn't just do this, it's also a system that ensures so that some people have more, that others are homeless, that others starve to death, that others are imprisoned, that people are fighting at war, when the truth is there is enough for everybody. The resources are simply being hoarded, and it's not that there is not enough. Wow, they're really taking a while. Sorry, I keep looking around and just checking what's going on, and then I'm ready to go off. It'll be a little bit of an exciting swing off this bridge, which I'm quite looking forward to in a strange way. Not that you look forward to any of this. There is something empowering about taking direct action and knowing that you know, your body in a couple of pulls can stop all of the rail access that ships like 2.5 million containers or something ridiculous a year. It is responsible for 28% of up to 28% of the import-export goods from one of the largest container ports on this continent. It swaps between here and Melbourne, I believe, as the largest or second largest. Got some workers behind me, but they're quite a way in the distance. Can you see? Sorry, I'll try to give you a better view. I'm just adjusting to using a selfie stick. I never thought I'd use one of these, but here we are. But yeah, as I was saying, there's something empowering about taking direct action like this, and knowing that you can actually do something outside of the system. You don't have to wait for some magic bullet or some magical change from politicians. All right, somebody is coming. I don't know. Maybe they're not. I'll show you them. Yeah, they are. So I'm going to get a wriggle on and get out there. Oh no. Maybe there. Sorry. Just setting myself up. You can see rail workers at the end of the track. Alright. Off we go!